Daddy, would you please tell us the story of Harry Pars?
Harry Pars.
Yes.
Well, Mother and I and another couple were on a Hadassah tour, and we were staying in the Dan Hotel in Tel Aviv. And we were going to that diner one night, walking to the elevator, and the other fella said, "What would you do if a war broke out here now?" And this was in 1969, 2 years after the '67 war. And I said, well, if they needed an old ex-Navy man, I might be able to work it out. And about that time, the elevator door opens, and there's a man on there. We walked in and pushed the button down. The door shut, and the man said, "Pardon me, sir, but were you in the U.S. Navy in World War II?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Were you on the USS Satyr?" And I said, "Yes." Thinking, what kind of questions are these?
You better spell Satyr.
He said, "You remember me?" And I said, "Are you Jewish?" Because the odds are in Israel, if you meet somebody, the odds are going to be pretty good that they're Jewish.
I almost fell out.
But on our ship, which was small, there was about 67 officers and men. And if he had been Jewish, I would have known it. But he said, "No, I'm not Jewish." He said, "You were my communications officer 24 years ago." He said, "I was your radio man." So Marilyn said, "How do you remember him?" He said, "He'll never forget. He was a wild 19-year-old kid, and the ship was in California, but was going out to the Pacific sometime in the next day or so. And he had a relative getting married in California, and he wanted to go to the wedding. But the skipper of our ship would not let him go because he didn't know when the ship was going to leave for the Pacific. So this young man decided to just go anyway. And he came back and he got a court-martial. And he knew that his future was going to be ruined. He would never get back into college, and he would never finish his degree. And finally the day came for the debt court, and I was the debt court officer. And he let him off with he said, "I'll let him off with a reprimand." And he was so happy. In 6 or 7 months, he got out of the Navy, and he went back to Harvard and got his PhD, and has a chemistry lab in Lexington, Massachusetts, develops drugs and licenses, sells them to national drug companies. So he said he would never forget me. He appreciated what I did for him very much. I made his future a possibility.
And what was he doing in Israel?
He was asked by Hebrew University to come lecture on his subject, and he said that he had never been to Israel, and he probably would never get there if he didn't take this opportunity. So he decided to go, and he was supposed to fly into the airport, which was close to Jerusalem and close to Tel Aviv. And he thought he was going to stay at the hotel.
Dan.
No, it wasn't the Dan, it was the other one. He was going to stay at the hotel near the airport, and he couldn't get a room there. So he went to the Dan where we were, and he got a room, and going down to dinner on the elevator, he meets his old communications officer.
That's an amazing
And
story.
can you confirm that he did pledge to you, because you single-handedly saved his future and his career, that he would leave his entire estate to your heirs? Can you confirm that?
I don't know if I can confirm that or not.
Confirm it anyway, for the record.
But that's still an amazing story. Thanks, Dad.